that's exactly how you end a season. Daredevil season 3 is about to go insane. I just finished watching season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. So many questions. I have notes, which is a new thing for me. I'm somebody who just likes to fire from the hip, if you guys haven't noticed. I like Daredevil Born Again season 2 a little bit more than season 1, but of course, season 1 had its ups and downs with all the behind the scenes stuff that kind of hindered the potential for that season. But regardless, I still enjoyed it. I feel like season 2 is definitely a step in the right direction, and I think the fact that it's setting up what it's setting up for season 3, I think is awesome. And yeah, I'm just here to talk about, I guess, the finale and stuff like that, and kind of just give my opinions on how I feel about the show and everything. The stuff that I post, I really appreciate if you guys subscribe to the channel. Like the video, share it around with your friends, comment down below your opinions. I try to just post all the stuff that I find enjoyment in, whether it's movies, sports, shows, things of that nature, pop culture related, pretty much whatever comes to my mind, and just, give my thoughts and opinions about it. So I'd appreciate it if you guys show your support. It helps me out more than you guys know. So yeah, with all that being said, let's talk about this season finale. Of course, spoilers ahead. This has been the most hyped I think I ever have been watching any sort of resemblance of a court show or any sort of crime show. Obviously, like, I grew up with like shows like NCIS, Criminal Minds and whatnot, but in terms of like courtroom shows, law shows like that, I really could care less for. I give Daredevil that grace because what was happening outside of the courtroom connected with what was going on and made sense to stay invested during those courtroom scenes. And of course, Matt's day job is being a lawyer. Regardless, when this trial of Karen Page started in episode 7, kind of started bringing things together, and the fact that Matt was able to come in and pretty much exonerate Karen Page by ultimately revealing that he is in fact Daredevil, I was like, man, this shit really means something to me. I was just overjoyed. I think it was just like the delivery of Charlie Cox and in that entire scene was awesome, and it was really captivating. Of course, a majority of this final episode of season 2 takes place in the courthouse, where Fisk and his little empire of being the mayor was like so slowly but surely cracking. The city was going up into an uproar. Bullseye yet again attempted to take the mayor's life, but of course he ends up shooting Buck. If anyway, that's my little bit of revenge for Buck shooting the shit out of Daniel. But the last thing I'll say about that first half before shit really starts getting crazy, that whole I am Daredevil, I just can't help but think back of, the other times where heroes would be the ones to kind of put themselves out there and reveal their true identity, where it's like, I am Iron Man, like Spider-Man, for example. Even though Mysterio was the one in the MCU to reveal that Peter Parker was, we all know there's going to be eventual consequences for those actions. As we move along in the episode, you have a standoff between the city of New York against the anti-vigilante task force. Fisk is pretty much on the chopping block. The attorney general as well as the governor are telling him to resign, and it becomes a whole thing at the courthouse where Daredevil ends up putting the suit back on. Matt ends up putting the suit back on, and him and Jessica Jones go try to prevent all-out war going on within this courthouse between the people of New York and the anti-vigilante task force, along with Kingpin himself, who you can see visibly is absolutely, like, he's just on the verge of snapping. Officer North pretty much pimp slapping the shit out of Officer Powell and allowing everybody's going after Fisk. They start trying to get into the courtroom where Fisk is chilling. Kingpin just loses his shit and proceeds to start going ape shit on everybody. All these stand-up citizens of New York getting they shit kicked in. They show the scenes parallel with one another. Jessica Jones and Daredevil and Angela, who ends up, of course, over the course of season 2, adopting the White Tiger mantle, I should say, and she was fucking shit up too in that hallway scene. The iconic Daredevil hallway scenes always go crazy. So Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and White Tiger are fucking everybody up, while Wilson Fisk is punching down and beating the fuck out of everybody in his own hallway just outside the courtroom, to eventually get to a really great shot of Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Karen and everybody leading kind of like the group of New York against Wilson Fisk, who's on his own mantle on a balcony. As all this is happening, Kingpin has already been given a plea deal, in a sense, to leave New York and all that, and he says no. And then this standoff with Daredevil happens with everybody, and literally the group of New Yorkers go and try to just jump the fuck out of Kingpin until eventually Daredevil and Jessica Jones step in, and the whole point is to get Kingpin to agree to the terms of the deal, and he does. But at the end of the episode, it is Karen Page and it is Daredevil, Matt Murdock enjoying time together in a restaurant, but eventually NYPD comes and takes Matt Murdock, Daredevil, away to prison. What's setting up for season 3 is that you have Matt in prison. Jessica Jones is back at Alias Investigations. The thing that got me so hyped was finally seeing the return of Luke Cage. Him and Jessica Jones have a kid. And for somebody who just got put on to the Netflix shows within like the last year or two, warms my heart. And I can only imagine the people who were watching these shows from day one being able to see these characters. We will say did not see Iron Fist, at least not yet. We know that Finn Jones, judging by the set photos taken, Finn Jones, who is Iron Fist, is going to be making a return as Danny Rand. So I'm excited to see that. But seeing Mike Coulter, seeing Luke Cage back is just awesome. I love Mike Coulter as an actor. Like, I've been following this guy's career since his time in Men in Black 3. Just glad to see him back, bringing back the character of Luke Cage. I feel like he was such a perfect casting, and I think he is very captivating as an actor. I just love Mike Coulter. I love the Luke Cage show and pretty much everything that involves Luke Cage, especially after watching the show. Huge fan. So it's great to be able to see him. It's great to be able to see the seeds of being planted for pretty much a spiritual season 2 of the Defender series with Daredevil Born Again season 3. And also Mr. Charles, Matthew Lillard's character, was employing Luke Cage to take care of business overseas. At the end of the episode, he makes his return to New York, reuniting with Jessica and their kid. That Mr. Charles now has a new employee in terms of Bullseye. So I can only imagine what bidding Bullseye is going to be doing for Mr. Charles. I didn't see whatever happened to Buck after Heather got him a jacket from the sleazy lawyer to keep him warm after he got shot by Bullseye. But didn't see what happened to him. Judging from seeing Heather at the end of the episode, she ends up donning the Muse's mask. So of course, from the reports to season 3, she's going to be taking on the moniker of Muse. I'm not sure exactly where that's going to lead. Still up in the air who's going to actually be the big bad in Born Again season 3, but I'm assuming she's going to have a big role. Her arc over the course of season 2 has been the whole idea of being so linked to Muse and Muse haunting her over the course of season 1 and 2 to now finally putting on the mask. The fact that Matt is going to prison, it's planting the seeds for a storyline taken out of the comics. And it was Daredevil, the prisoner of Cell Block D. The whole thing with that comic, and again, like, this is from somebody who has not read the comic. From my understanding, the prisoner of Cell Block D is when Matt gets sent to prison. He is there pretty much fighting for survival because, of course, he's locked in with a bunch of people that really don't like him very much, whether it's like, old foes or just people that he's been responsible for putting in prison or just prisoners who don't like him in general. Iron Fist takes on the mantle of Daredevil and proceeds to go around New York still doing, being, I guess, like a friendly neighborhood Daredevil, showing that Matthew Murdock and Daredevil are two entirely different people. I'm pretty sure the first part of season 3, we're going to see Matt in prison. Of course, who else is in prison? A bunch of the anti-vigilante task force who's locked in there with them. So Officer Powell, of course, Officer North. And it seems like Officer North is looking to become more and more of an ally like he was in the comics, help get Matt out of prison. If you guys watch the episode, Matt fully puts on display that he is Daredevil with his moves, just with his cane to help him walk. But I think there's going to be some variation of the Prisoner Cell Block D storyline. And of course, looking at reports, it could be potential villains like Mr. Fear. Kingpin's going to be coming back. Judging by set photos, is that he seems like he's going to be on the run. He's getting like a big Santa beard and all that stuff. So I guess his story just isn't done quite yet, even though there's been a lot within the Marvel community looking for new villains for Daredevil to go up against. Hopefully we'll see what's what when it comes to season 3. Season 3, I believe, is still currently filming, and season 3 will come out, I believe, March of next year. In the meantime, we are 6 days away from the Punisher special presentation, and of course the Punisher special presentation is supposed to set up where Frank Castle's at by the time Spider-Man Brand New Day rolls around. And I think this is confirmation at the end of season 2 of Born Again that we're not going to see Daredevil in Spider-Man Brand New Day. If it's taking place after the events of season 2, I'm assuming Matthew Murdock is going to be in prison. These characters like Spider-Man and Frank Castle talk about, even if it's just a reference, and it might honestly be a throwaway line, because obviously if he's not going to be in the movie, why focus so much on a character that isn't in the movie? I think this is a way to keep Spider-Man and Daredevil apart. I feel like eventually they'll work out a way for Daredevil and Spider-Man to be on the screen together. You can't have these guys both parading around New York and not have known about each other, especially with the fact that Frank Castle has now been in contact with both of them, seemingly after the events of Brand New Day. Like, it's definitely going to happen. Season 3 is shaping up to be awesome. I'm very excited to see where the events of Season 2 are taking Matt as we head into Season 3, what his life is going to be like in prison, pretty much going to battle with the anti-vigilante task force or the former members of said task force, where Kingpin is going to be with all this, because again, he took the plea deal. So we last see him on a beach somewhere, God knows where. He's alone. He doesn't have Vanessa. He doesn't have any assets anymore. So it seems like it's going to be Kingpin on the run. You also have BB Urick honoring the legacy of her uncle. I think Season 3 is going to be a very, very fun experience. I think it has the opportunity to be the best season of Daredevil, or be up there with the OG Daredevil series is Season 3, because Season 3 of the Netflix show was awesome. You know, we were introduced to a bunch of great characters. We were introduced to Agent Nadeem, who was a very integral part of that season, and we're introduced to Benjamin Poindexter, who would of course become Bullseye, and seeing his arc actively going out of his mind. Excited to see the Defenders return. I'm very excited to see potentially closing the book on a lot of these series of the old Netflix era, but at the same time, it could be a way to reintroduce these characters and then have them go off on their own stories as well. I think it's awesome to see Jessica Jones and Luke Cage back. It's going to be awesome seeing Iron Fist come back, because I believe Finn Jones deserves a fair shake to really take care of this character and really redeem this character in the eyes of MCU and Marvel fans. Feels like the Iron Fist character, feels like the entire project in terms of the Netflix show was problematic, was whatever opinions you may have, or whatever, like, the show wasn't perfect. He seems very determined that he wants to be able to portray the Iron Fist that people are hoping to see and expecting to see what the Punisher special presentation has Frank Castle up to, because this is probably the closest we're going to get to a Punisher movie. Now I'm ready for that hour worth of mayhem. I really enjoyed Season 2 a lot more than Season 1. It kept me on the edge of my seat after every episode, and seeing Matt primarily in the Daredevil suit and being, you know, more involved in the Daredevil suit. It wasn't that it was such a seamless process getting Season 1 finished. Matt has already had this identity crisis of being Daredevil compared to Matt Murdock and all that, and then losing Foggy was, you know, a catalyst for Born Again series altogether. A nice change in direction, now seeing that Matt is going to have to worry about surviving in prison for however long he's going to be there, because eventually he's going to get out, of course. But yeah, you guys let me know what you guys felt about the finale. You guys let me know how you guys feel about the show as a whole. Are you guys excited for Season 3? Are you guys excited for the Punisher special presentation that's coming out next week? So yeah, let me know you guys' thoughts and opinions down below. If you guys did enjoy the video, like the video, share it around with your friends, subscribe to the channel to support me. At the end of the day, these are just all my opinions. So I appreciate you guys for sticking around. But other than that, that's gonna be it for me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.